April 24th, 1964, Officer Zamora is out in Socorro, New Mexico, chasing down a speeder in a high-speed pursuit, which he cuts off this pursuit to go and pursue what he sees in an open field of the desert as an exploding object that he thinks may be a aircraft in distress and or a Air Force test of some kind. He doesn't know what this is. He goes out into the desert and he tries to investigate whatever this light is that he saw. He approaches a landed object that looks like an egg. It has 4 legs sticking out, and upon closer investigation has this strange umbrella-like emblem, I guess you could say, on it. Weird, nothing he'd ever seen before from the nearby Air Force Base. And he sees these 2 beings that don't look human running around a distance from him outside of the craft. He decides to get closer to the craft and investigate it further. And as he gets up to it, he hears a door close. And next thing he knows, as he's looking at the craft, this is when he's able to see the symbol on the side that I mentioned, and this almost like a door sort of thing. He sees a blue flame shoot out from underneath of it. Also, the 2 beings are gone, so he can only assume that the hatch closing noise that he had heard was them getting in. And next thing he knows, this blue flame is coming out from underneath of this egg-shaped craft. The legs are now retracting, and all Lonnie Zamora knows to do is run, because he doesn't know what's about to happen. So he runs, loses his shades and his hat in the process, and gets to his car, and watches as this craft lifts off the ground. And then the flame cuts off, and the craft flies away at extreme speeds, with no visible forms of propulsion outside of the flame it used to take off. They contact the nearby Air Force Base. They have no assistance. They say that they had nothing in the area. They don't know what this thing is. Officers come out to investigate. They find burned sand that is turned to glass, as well as imprints from the 4 poles of this egg-shaped craft into the ground, as well as footprints from these alleged beings that look like perfect geometrical shapes of some kind that are just very strange, that line up with Officer Zamora's story. And this is one of the most credible UFO cases in history, in modern history. I mean, we are talking a story that the government of the United States has not been able to shoot down as being a hoax. I mean, this is the only story that I know of that is listed as an unexplained event. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because Jake Barber, Ross Coulthart's whistleblower, submitted some footage to Ross Coulthart that was shown as a Newsnation exclusive. And this Newsnation exclusive showed a video of what is alleged to be a crash retrieval of an egg-shaped craft. Now, I'm going to share this footage with you under the assumption that Newsnation is not going to copyright strike me for doing so. I would hope they wouldn't. If they want to stand by the fact that this footage is legitimate, it kind of makes them look like it's not if they copyright strike me for sharing something that should involve all of humanity and should not matter who shares it. And I will let you guys know if they copyright strike me, because that obviously lends to the idea that this is not legitimate and this is a cash grab. Now, that is not to say Jake Barber's credibility is not amazing. And we are going to get into the things that were discussed in this interview, because I watched the exclusive twice. I'm just going to share with you first the footage. But before I do, let me give you my thoughts on this footage. So, when I first saw this footage, I replayed it multiple times. I lost count how many times I rewatched it. And the only thing that I can use to describe my feelings about this, with how hyped this footage was that my disappointment was immeasurable and my day has been ruined. That is literally the only description I have for how this footage made me feel. I felt like we were going to be getting something big, and I feel that the UFO community at this point has been waiting for that big thing, and as long as I've been researching this topic, I think I've shared better footage of a crash craft on this channel of an alleged craft in Brazil that was better than this. And that looked more like a sand space pod, if I'm being quite honest with you. I think if you were to take this footage and swap the egg-shaped craft out with the sand space pod, this would have been more believable. And I'm not saying that this footage is fake. It's night vision. It's green. You can't tell what's happening, and you can't tell if this is legitimately helicopter footage or if this is being filmed in somebody's backyard with a fishing pole and some duct tape and an egg. I'm sorry to say that, but I will share it anyway and let you make up your mind on your thoughts of it. I'm not going to say that it's fake. I personally don't know. But I'm disappointed that this is the groundbreaking footage that we received. And I know a lot of others are too. This is not excellent, okay? I think that this scrambles our minds in the UFO community. Okay, that was corny. I'm sorry. Enough egg puns. Before I share this, though, for those of you that are new here, my name is Richard. Welcome to the channel. And if you're new here, I hope that you don't take this footage to be anything that we would, normally share. Because we try to share better stuff that we can find here. Because we do share a lot of UFO footage. So, I know this isn't going to make the needle move for any kind of skeptic. That's for sure. If this is real, then, and it can be proven, like somebody legitimate comes out and says, like, yeah, this is legit footage, then I'll believe it, and I'll tout this footage as the greatest footage of a NHI, UAP, or UFO, whatever you want to call it, an NHI craft ever filmed. It doesn't look like a potato, it looks like an egg. It doesn't look like it was filmed with a potato. They didn't use a potato to film the egg. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and share this footage with you, but before I do, if you're new here, please smash that subscribe button and notification bell. Share this video around with your friends and family. Really help the channel out if you find that you enjoy it anyway. And tap the like button. If you don't like it, dislike it if you want to. Doesn't hurt me. But I definitely appreciate the support. Now let's go ahead and play this footage. Check it out.
Let's slow this down to take a closer look. That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land. Let's freeze frame here to look at one of the clearest images of a UAP ever taken. This is no blurry light in a distant sky. The source of the footage putting themselves at incredible risk to record this UAP retrieval. Look at how perfectly smooth the craft is. No markings at all, and no visible means of propulsion or way to see inside. Watch how it rolls, almost graceful as it hits the ground, despite being wrapped in the ropes and canvas from the cradle as it's dropped for pickup. The UAP's final destination still unknown.
Yeah, so as you can see, definitely not the footage that we were expecting to see. I mean, they did say it would be an egg held up by a helicopter. That's exactly what they said it would be, and that's kind of what it is. But, like, is it really? I don't know, man. I don't know. But it's definitely, it's a video. I don't know that it's what we were hoping for. I mean, this isn't groundbreaking. This doesn't prove anything. There's nothing to identify this as for sure an NHI craft other than the word of the pilot, who is a very decorated pilot, by the way. He is a very credible guy. And if you haven't seen the interview, I recommend you watch the interview. But this guy is very, very credible. I mean, there's no denying that. And same with the other witnesses that came out with him, because Jake Barber's not the only guy in the interview. But there are parts of this interview that really just kind of got under my skin. And we're going to cover those. Oh, and by the way, for return viewers, I apologize. I've been sick for the past, month, and 2 rounds of antibiotics later, I'm back, and I lost my voice at one point, so I hope you can accept my apologies. It was gone for a couple weeks, so I sounded like I smoked like 2 packs a day when, my voice was gone. It was just disgusting, and there was no way I could upload a video because my throat hurt beyond belief. But I'm back now, and there will be no more delays between uploads. That being said, there will be 2 more videos on the Jesse Michaels whistleblowers coming up. I was actually going to be posting them all in one video until I realized that it's a lot to cover, and then this dropped, and I felt that this was probably more pertinent to cover, so we are covering Jake Barber first. But we will be covering Mario Woods and Randy Anderson as well. So keep an eye out for those videos. And I'm gonna be honest, I like their stories a bit more, but we'll see where this goes. I don't think this is gonna be the last we hear from Jake Barber and Ross Coulthart. And I know a lot of people are saying that Ross Coulthart's credibility is destroyed from this. I was reading the comments on the original video Newsnation posted, and it's a lot of people, shattering him to bits. I mean, he is being shell-shocked. Just completely, how do I put this? Maybe hard-boiled is the right word. Yeah, they're boiling him alive. Yeah, that's probably the best term. Not everybody. Some people are totally defending this, which is understandable. There's always going to be people that will defend things no matter what. And me being a very staunch believer in UFOs, I have a very hard time defending this. And that's why it gives me... And I'm not defending it, actually. I'm not at all. The only thing that gives any sort of... Like, if I watch this, right? Like, say I didn't have this guy's background, right? Like, I didn't know who Jake Barber was. I just saw this footage and was told that this is a UFO. I would laugh in your face. If I was looking for footage for my channel and I was just looking for content to share, in a million years, I would never share this. I would never. The only reason I'm sharing it is because it's a Newsnation Ross Coulthart exclusive that has been hyped up, and because of the fact that the guy behind it, or guys behind it, are quite credible in terms of who they are in their military background. Now, there were other parts of this interview that really turned me off. And I don't blame anybody if these other... I mean, it was a good interview, but I don't blame anybody if these parts of the interviews were just a little too much for you to take in. I want to start by saying that I've done a lot of research into the remote viewing stuff. I've read the CIA documents. I've looked into a lot of that. And I've even attempted a little bit of the remote viewing stuff myself, the exercises and stuff that are publicly available to learn how to do it from the Monroe Institute. And what I have learned is that it is very much a real thing. But then there's people for the longest time that I thought, like Stephen Greer, I don't like to bring him up because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge fan, because I think that I always thought that CE5 was a way to scam an audience. And I always thought that dropping those flares from a plane out over the open ocean to a crowd of people who paid a lot of money to show up to your event just to give them something was just kind of scummy. Allegedly. This is alleged. I should say it's allegedly. I can't prove that, but there are flight tracker data that shows that there was a plane that flew by and they do look like flares. It's alleged. It could be that maybe this was totally separate. Maybe it's legit. I don't know. But in my personal opinion, I thought that was a scam. And I've always thought that the idea that you can meditate and summon aliens is just ridiculous. Why would an advanced race come to Earth from wherever they currently are in the galaxy? Why are they going to stop whatever they're doing? So, like, let's just say an alien's taking an alien dump, right? Some guy meditates. What is this alien is fairly godfather? Does he have, or mother, who knows? Whatever. Does it just show up because you meditated hard enough and stop taking its dump and, like, immediately drop what it's doing and just show up for your entertainment to come say hi? Is that how this works? The reason I bring this up is because in this interview, Jake Barber mentioned that the government is using psychics to summon aliens and even fly the craft, like human psychics, to bring them here, which would lend credibility to what Dr. Greer has been selling with CE5. If this is true, I take back everything I just said about Dr. Greer. And I apologize. And again, that was all my opinion. Don't sue me. But I have a very hard time, even being a very heavy believer in this subject, believing in the idea that there are people with psychic abilities that could summon aliens. That just seems... Now, I don't want to rule it out entirely. I don't know how many of you have ever seen galaxies next to brain neurons, but the universe kind of looks like a giant brain. So maybe there's some weird, hermetic link between the human brain in the cosmos to where our energy really does transmute throughout the cosmos, like the butterfly effect on steroids, where if you think hard enough and will it into the universe, that what you want will come to you, and maybe these alien beings are the ultimate personification of mastering that ability. But I don't know that I can believe that. Until I see some proof, I believe remote viewing is very much a real thing. I've done it myself. I know it is. I was able to verify it myself. Other people have done this. It's obviously a thing. It's not 100%, but there is always room for mistakes. There's even a Harvard researcher researching this into autistic kids right now that have very powerful remote viewing abilities, but I can't personally buy into the idea that this extends all the way to summoning somebody. I can't just sit here and meditate and summon somebody that I want to have come to my house. I can't do that. So knowing that that's not something that's possible with other humans who are of the same race as me, I can't imagine that this is something that's possible with another race, even if they are psychic. Maybe they're heeding the message and they're just showing up to help out. I really could not tell you. I hope I'm wrong and that this is not a grift, because I'm getting vibes from this Jake Barber guy that he saw that Lou Elizondo, another very, I would like to say the words decorated. I like Lou. That he saw that Lou and Tim Gallaudet and all these other military people and Pentagon officials were able to come forward with their information and get popularity out of it, write a book or whatever, which, fine. And I feel like we might see a book detailing all of this information from Jake Barber and his friends in the coming future. And that is what worries me. I am worried that people are just using this entire phenomenon for nothing more than to sell a book. And I know that's common. Don't get me wrong, you gotta make your money. That's fine, man. I totally get it. I mean, I want to make money. Everyone wants to make money. You need money to live. It's part of how the world works. I'm an adult. I understand. But when it comes to something this groundbreaking, it starts to get a little bit scummy when you start manipulating people who are truly looking for answers. Because at that point, it's man, you already don't know who to believe in this field, and you just make it worse. And I'm not saying that Jake Barber's lying, and I like Ross Coulthart. I think that he probably looked into this pretty heavily, and he clearly has every reason to take this guy seriously. But the footage that we were shown just isn't enough. We need something more. And if this is what the craft actually legit looked like, and this really is an NHI craft in this video, we need to see the technology in person. We need to see one of these eggs flying. Because for all I know, this could just be one of the same sort of craft I have in my fridge in the carton. I got 12 of them in there right now. I go fly it around. Anyway, he brings up this whole thing with psychics, and then also brings up this other thing that he thinks his employer is trying to off him while he is being made to retrieve these tough books from very strange locations. And when he retrieved them, there was one that there was a gunfight over, and the hard drive was missing. And he's making this out to be as though there are multiple factions of the government, like the U.S. government, fighting with each other over this. And I do believe that. I mean, just Congress and the Pentagon going at it. But then there's probably other sectors of the government that are going at it. Because I do believe the UFO phenomenon is very much a very real thing. I do believe that the government does have craft and that they have retrieved them. But I feel like if this is real, we really need to see more proof. And I hope that this isn't just us getting messed with. That's all I could say. Because, I mean, I feel like I could recreate this video in my backyard. And that's the problem. And I'm not just going to blindly believe something just because somebody with all the credentials says that it's legit, short of the president coming out and saying that it's legit. If I don't see some sort of like actually high up government officials coming out and being like, yeah, this is legit. Like I'm talking like Tim Burchett has to say this is legit. Somebody like him, Luna, has to say it's legit. Somebody that is outspoken and crazy enough that they would say it's legit. I need somebody like that to say that. Because maybe Nancy Mace, just somebody. So, you know, somebody who goes hard at this subject and truly believes. I think Tim Burchett, I would take his word that it's real over any other government person, other than maybe the president himself. If Trump comes out and says this is real, then maybe I'll buy it. Because at that point, why would they have the president come out and lie about this? What do they gain from that? If Biden, who will no longer be in office tomorrow, said this was real, again, I would believe it. I don't care if it comes from the president or one of these senators, you know, Chuck Schumer, anybody who's clearly interested in this, in the UFO topic and has a legitimate interest. Obviously, I know Trump doesn't, and neither does Biden, but Trump has promised to release the files, and I think he'll probably do it because the guy's, he's Trump. I really have no doubt that if he can, he will. I mean, he doesn't have anything to lose other than maybe if they want to. I mean, I guess the situation is as bad as they say it is. I guess maybe he does have things to lose. And I also want to know the CIA's involvement here, because it was brought up at the second hearing by Lou that in 2008, ALSAP tried to acquire a downed UAP or crashed UAP or UFO that Lockheed Martin was holding on to and were blocked by the CIA. I'd like to know what that's about. Is that an egg? I don't know. Another thing Jake Barber brought up, this octagonal, is that what he said? Octagonal UAP, UFO, literally looks like a flying saucer. He brought up that was another thing he transported that was very obviously non-human technology. I really wish that was the footage we would have seen, because it would have been a lot better than an egg. Granted, I know we take what we can get, but at least then it would have been like, yeah, we don't fly saucers around. That clearly looks like a actual typical flying saucer. There would be less debate over this. And don't get me wrong, there have been many accounts of an egg-shaped UFO, so I'm not denying the idea that egg-shaped UFOs are a thing. They very much could be. So, that being said, I do think there is a chance this is real, but I'm not going to push it as real until there's further evidence. If you guys want to push it as real, that's fine. If you want to take him at his word, it's fine. I totally understand that. The guy is credible, and it's Ross Coulthart, and I think he's a very good journalist. But I do believe that there has to be more. This can't be all we get. We need to see some sort of undeniable proof, or every skeptic who's got every reason to be all of the McWests out there, they're going to just continue to say that this is nonsense, that there's nothing visiting Earth, that they can never be here, all of that, no matter who says it, no matter which part of the government comes out and says it. It doesn't matter. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be covering Jesse Michaels' whistleblowers because I think that they're amazing, and I really love the story that Mario Woods told. And I also think Randy Anderson's story is great, too, about what he saw. That's going to be, both of them are going to be their own video because they're rather long, and I'm also going to cover some other stuff in it, and I have a vault of UFO sightings I'm going to include in those as well. Other than the egg-shaped sighting in this one, because this is kind of a short notice video, that's about it. I'm only going to be covering this. There's not going to be any more footage in this video. Wait for the next one. I promise there will be some great stuff in that one that I haven't shared yet. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about it, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it in the comments. If you guys can, if you guys think it's real, tell me why. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I have, no opinion, but I'm just disappointed. I'm like your father when he finds out that you did something wrong, and he's just, not angry, but he's disappointed in you. That's how I am with Ross Coulthart and Jake Barber right now. I am the disappointed father. So, with that said, that's all I got for you. Maybe look into Lonnie and Zamora a little deeper. Maybe I'll do a full-length video on that, actually explaining everything that occurred in that. It is a very good sighting, or case. However, I don't know that this is of the same caliber yet. Even though the guy that shared it is probably one of the most credible witnesses we've ever had. But that doesn't mean he's not a grifter. And until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to take this at face value and wait for more evidence. And I hope you guys that are in the same boat as me do the same and don't just completely distance yourselves from the subject. I know some of you have whistleblower fatigue. And quite honestly, I don't blame you. But at the same time, there will be more. This is more information than in my 30 years of living. And I've been studying this subject since I was 10. I've been reading books on it. Every piece of information I could consume about it, I've been consuming. And all I could say is that after 20 years of being super interested in this subject and making videos on this channel and everything else, we have never had this level of information drop from the federal government before, and that this is completely something we should literally be thankful for what we have, but there will probably be more. Jeremy Corbell brought up in a TMZ documentary that the government in 2027 is going to say that a alien spaceship is slowly making its way towards Earth, and that they're only going to give us the truth so that they can use the aliens as a ruse. So the aliens showing up is true. The UAPs or UFOs, whatever, the non-human entities are real. But there's going to be a lie about them coming here for some reason. I don't know what that reason would be. If you guys have theories on that, please feel free to let me know in the comments. It's about all I've got. Maybe I'll talk about this a little bit more after I digest it better and have more time to think about it with you guys. For now, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As I mentioned earlier, don't forget, like, share, comment, subscribe, tap bell, and I'll see you guys again in the next one. Peace.